quickly say good morning to Professor Selvamurthy. He's a former DG DRDO. He's joining us from New Delhi. And Professor S.K. Dhaka, he's a senior space scientist. Of course, continuing with us on the broadcast is Group Captain D.N. Jha. He's a senior scientist and former Joint Director DRDO. He's joining us from Bengaluru. Very good morning to all you gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on this big day. Professor Selvamurthy, I want to come to you because we want to understand, for the benefit of our viewers, the final moments and how critical they will be. Because as we understand that in a scenario that the algorithm and the calculations do not allow a soft landing right at that time for the lander module, when it is just about hovering around the lunar surface and is suspended, there are various scenarios among which our scientists will have to decide, and the time limit to decide in that, the time span will only be about 90 seconds tops. So to get a sense of all these scenarios and what is expected this evening.
Let me tell all the viewers, so far the progress of the Chandrayaan-3 mission has been extremely precise, accurate and successful. And we are very confident that with the reliability which the ISRO scientists have proven, established over the several missions which they have done during the last 5 decades, I can assure you that this mission most likely will be very, very successful. The first part, soft landing, and subsequently carrying out the scientific experiments which both the lander and rover have to conduct over there. So I'm very, very confident. But now, coming to the rocket science, as it is said, there are many complexities in this, particularly when you talk about the last 20 minutes or 19 minutes of the descent, which now the lander will start in the evening around 5:45 p.m. today. That becomes the critical phase when the mission, the most complex part of the mission comes to the beginning at 5:45 p.m. in the evening. Why it is so complex? Because the southern part of the southern polar region is a treacherous place to land, is an unexplored place to look at. And then there are so many variables over there. One is, the first thing is, you need to optimize the rate of the descent and precisely at what altitude you should switch on the reverse thrusters to slow down the lander reaching down, soft landing on the moon. Then you need to also change the attitude of the lander, because if it is coming horizontally, then you need to bring it to a vertical position and then land, soft landing on the surface of the moon. So these are all very complex missions, because now the lander will be on an autonomous mode. So far it is getting the command from ground stations and also other telemetric, the information which is going from ground as well as onboard computers. But that will be the phase 19 minutes when you have the powered descent, then it will be on totally autonomous mode. So in this process, you need to look at the intelligence, the onboard computers, the softwares which are available. Because the complexity is a body which is coming at 6,000 kilometers per hour. That is the velocity or the speed with which the lander is now going to move. And you have to slow down to zero gradually. Because if you do a sudden braking, you see the whole thing will topple. Suppose you are going on a bike or a cycle, suddenly you do a braking, then you topple down. Similar thing will happen, so you can't do that kind of braking from 6,000 kilometers per hour. You need to gradually bring the velocity or the speed of this lander. So that is a big challenge, because it also depends on the altitudes at which you have to switch on those controlling motors, as well as the attitude, because you need to bring it down. Then the next thing is gravitational force. Now, unlike the Earth, which has got inertia, the atmosphere has got its own inertia, drag, all this will limit will give a very facilitating environment in the Earth, but which is not there in the moon. So the gravitational force will pull it down, and the gravitational force is not uniform. So there are pockets, like when you go in the aircraft, you will see suddenly a air pocket, suddenly. So you will see such variable places of the gravitational force. So this has to take a decision. Then it will also look at what has been predicted site of landing.
Right.
Is it conducive for soft landing? Then it has to make course correction. That's why you said hovering.
Yes.
So it will hover over, look for the safest place to land, soft land, and then after soft landing, you have to open up the extended arm for the rover to come out of this, and then you should do the experiment. So the soft landing is the most critical, and then subsequently, the other important part of the criticality is how do we conduct the rest of the mission for which we are soft landing over there. So these are some challenges. So I'm sure this mission will be successful. The health of the systems, as reported by the Indian Space Research Organization, all systems, subsystems, components, devices, the health of it is very good. So the scientists are very confident, and we are all very confident.
Yes.
As also I am being a defense scientist, I am confident that this mission will be successful, because I have seen how the ISRO functions in terms of rigorous reviews, and they don't leave anything for choice. And in fact, this Chandrayaan-3 was based on a failure-proof model in the sense,
Yes.
what all we learned
Yes.
from the setbacks we had in the Chandrayaan-2 has been taken care of. So that is how the
Right.
confidence level is very high, that there are redundancy built in the system, and also the additional the care has been taken. So we are confident that the mission will succeed, and we are waiting for the historic happy moment